Now, alright, so, Marlo, this is your first sort of solo session,
Yep.
which I'm glad. I'm really enjoying doing these with people. But, so you said that after your Arya spat and you went and hung out with Rilke the 24 hours following the party, you wanted to spend a little bit of time just sort of going over what Marlo did, going for like a walk, you said?
Yes, a walk, probably sometime in the town, and then after a while, she wants to go out and like wander around in the wilderness for a bit, because
Yeah, that's understandable. Okay, so
that's
like
yeah.
usually in these solo sessions, I won't make you roll too much if it's not you actually doing anything of significance. Well, not like major significance at least. What you're doing is still definitely significant to Marlo. But
Thanks.
okay, so Marlo, you're just gonna start wandering around the town then.
Yep.
Okay,
Um,
so at this point, you're saying it's okay. So it finished at 4. How long do you think you were partying and drinking and just sort of hanging out with Rilke for?
let's see, probably around, I want to say maybe like till after dinner time, like maybe about 8 or so.
Okay, so it's 8 o'clock, and despite what you might think, the festivities have only gotten wilder. Parties have started up now that it's gone a bit later, and
Hmm.
you can't go from one street to the next without seeing some group of drunkards enjoying themselves, without seeing some show of a fire eater or a sword swallower or something even wilder. You see one show where there is an orc juggling 3 halflings who are all doing tricks in the air, and you see massive crowds gathered around these people. Because the Battle of the Bards isn't just for musicians, it's for all kinds of entertainers, and people flock from all over the world to come and show off their skills at these places.
Well,
And sure, so what does Marlo do?
well, I think about this time, Marlo does want to spend a little bit of time just like, I guess, seeing the sights, because I don't know whether she's gotten a big chance to do that yet. But at the same time, like, after about maybe a half hour or so, she's kind of getting like overwhelmed, and probably like that's at the point where she decides she wants to like go out and just walk around in the wilderness. And like, actually, can I roll a perception to like see if I make any kind of like interesting observations while I'm walking around the town?
Sure, go for it.
Cool, 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 cool. Perception.
That is 18, 17.
Yeah.
How do you have a -1 on perception?
I'm pretty sure it's like linked to intelligence or something. So,
Okay, yeah, probably.
or wisdom. Yes, I also have a
With-
minus one on
okay,
wisdom.
yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so with a 17, I'll say that you see down one alley as you're walking around the town, you see a couple of thugs who are sort of who've cornered a Kineas couple who seem to have shown up to enjoy the festivities, and they've got them trapped in this corner. What do you do?
I'm going to march right up to them, and Marlo's probably gonna be like, um, hmm, let's see. Uh, let's see. Yeah, she'll probably just say something like, "What are you doing with those two? Why don't you leave them alone?"
Okay, you trying to intimidate them?
Yes, that would probably be a good thing to do.
Yeah,
Uh,
go for it. Okay, with
oh
a
God,
9,
not too much.
I'll roll their, I'd say wisdom.
You're,
So let's see what they
you're
get.
taking mercy on me.
Oh,
Oh,
these guys are some pretty low level thugs. They took advantage of the fact that people are probably drunk and pretty like tipsy, and they decided to grab a random couple, but the couple wasn't drunk or tipsy. And when you show up behind them, they are terrified. They see this tall, orcish woman just sort of towering over them and holding this. What weapon does Marlo have? She has a great sword right now, right?
um, I mean, I've got a great sword and a great axe. I think I probably like will reach for the axe, kind of
Because yeah, because
reflexively.
that's what she's used for most of her time outside, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Okay, yeah, and she sort of draws the axe, and they scatter, they run, and the Kinetic couple thank you. They're really grateful. They're like they're thank you so much. They were asking you for ask for everything we had, and if we'd given it to them, we wouldn't have been able to get home. You're You're a real saint.
I'm glad I could help you. So, do you two live around here, or did you just come up for the festival?
We're just here for the festival, actually. We come all the way from Kinnear's homeland. We've
Hmm.
it was a bit of a long trip, but we've loved it here. It's such a refreshing time. You don't want to hear our life stories. Just thank you.
Huh? Oh, sure thing. Uh, I guess stay safe. Keep an eye out.
Oh, don't worry, we're going to be a lot more careful from now on. And they sort of
Have a good
disappear
night.
off. You too. And they disappear off into the sort of back into the throng of the festival. And Marlo, you feel a lot better about yourself after that.
Yeah. Yeah, but at the same time, I think I'm just like kind of, oh boy, I want to go out to the forest at this point now because, like, I don't know,
Yeah,
I think things are probably getting like pretty loud and
especially considering
yeah.
Marlo's not never been with this kind of thing, has she?
No, I think this is like probably her first like big festival thing that like even like within her orc tribe,
Yeah, they would never. They
it's
wouldn't
still
have
kind of like
anything
a
like this. You'd have people occasionally
yeah.
heading off to this festival and one similar to
Hmm.
it, but you've never. Orcish festivals are usually either group. They're a lot. They're big, but they're not this grandeur. They're not this
Right.
grandiose. However the fuck you say that word.
Grandia.
Yeah, but you're adjusting your mic a lot, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I haven't actually touched it. It must be just like going around on my neck. Sorry, I'll keep a better eye on it.
Okay. So you're gonna head out. So I usually don't shift map locations because a lot of this stuff isn't really like map dependent.
Brilliant.
But I'll just move you. I'll let you head to the outskirts of town, which is about here. So you're gonna cross the
Thanks.
bridge. You've crossed the bridge, and you're at the outskirts of town. And most of this area directly surrounding the town is pretty thickly wooded, pretty thickly forested. So, are you gonna? Do you want to? So, what do you want to do? Do you just want to like explore the forest?
Yes, I think that would probably be the first thing I want to do. It's probably already dark out, right?
It's okay. With the time you spent walking around the town, let's say it's about 10. So
Yeah.
it's getting dark. Yeah, it's nearing sun. It's the sun's gone down, but the night hasn't fully settled in yet.
Mm-hmm.
You're in that kind of twilight hour.
Right.
So you kind of make your way into these forests and roll me a perception.
Sure thing.
Oh,
How
cool.
is it?
19.
Hey, nice.
All right.
18.
So, yeah, but I read what's on the dice. So, Marlo, you notice that this forest has clearly been sort of pretty undisturbed. Their hunters will go through here from time to time and get food for the shops in town, but there's no sign of too many people chopping trees down. There's no sign of animals being overhunted, and it's a pretty well kept forest. But you, in fact, hear noises coming from pretty deep inside of it. Pretty unnatural noises.
Ooh.
Are you gonna investigate them?
I'm going to probably draw. I want to say actually my fiery greatsword, and I will go investigate.
Okay. As you make your way into these forests, you see several trees sort of pushed aside, almost uprooted. And as you come into a large clearing, you see the figure, the same one who destroyed your last town and killed your friend, sitting on a log. And it takes him a moment before he does anything, but he pries the helmet off his head, and you see a wave of golden hair come down. And then he starts taking off the rest of his armor, and you can see the figure inside. And he's got clothes on,
Oh, okay. Thank God.
but you can tell that it's a struggle. That while he's big, of course, or rather she, my apologies, she's big, of course, she's very well built and pretty, like, and she has to have been in order to even wear this armor. But
Mm-hmm.
she eventually, when it comes to the part of it that seems almost melded together, it takes her a tremendous amount of effort before she manages to pull her arm free. And even then, the armor seems warped into the shape of her arm. And she's wearing very simple, very plain leather clothes underneath. And she stretches and she's flexing out as she's standing in this clearing. And then she turns her head up to the sky and she yells. And it is this pained yell of, and you can't even tell why, but Marlo, as you see this figure standing in front of you, you feel like you have been hit in the gut by an ogre, and not like like not literally, like figuratively, and you feel
Mm-hmm.
your eyes welling up with tears, but you don't know why. Just looking at this figure, you feel so. There is something that is just eating at you from seeing her, and you have no idea what it is. And if you even try to recall, you are hit with this searing headache. And
Jeez.
moments later, the figure takes a seat on the log, her chest steadily rising and falling, as she sort of just takes in the air and the world around her.
What? What are you? What are you doing here?
You, she jumps out of her skin. She jumps up as you say that, and she turns to you and she goes to draw the sword as if she was still in the armor, but she's not. She doesn't have the sword on her. It's still left in this armor that is so fixated into how it is that it's still sitting up in the way she left it. And she just sort of eyes you, and her eyes go wide, and she goes, I mean, the the orc from the town.
My name is Marlo. I am the orc from the town.
What are you doing here? Did you have you been tracking me? Did you come to? Are you after me or?
You're the one who killed Talroth, right? Right? She is?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
I wasn't tracking you or anything like that. This is a surprise to me as well. What what are you here to do?
I'm not. I I heard there's going to be some kind of activity regarding the exile at these near this town, and I've been wandering around for days and days trying to figure out where it is, and I thought I'd stop here and take off my armor. You're not gonna
What
kill me.
kind?
You're not gonna try and kill me, are you? Because I
Uh
don't want to have to fight you.
I I don't know if I'm in any condition to be fighting someone right now.
Her face
What do you mean
softens a little.
by what?
Her face softens, and she kind of sits down on the log,
Songs?
and, as in, like, her expression changes from being this really accusatory and like harsh look into a kind of more of sympathetic. And she kind of sits down on the log and hesitantly reaches over and pats beside her.
Uh, I think I'll prefer to stand, but at the same time, Dragon, I'm going to probably put my sword back.
She seems visibly relieved as you do so. So what's eating at you?
What's what?
It seemed like there was something that was upsetting you. So um,
Well, first, what's your name?
I don't know how. All right. It's Annabeth.
You don't know?
No, my name's Annabeth.
Annabeth.
Yes.
I've had a pretty shitty day, Annabeth. Um, and I don't know who I can trust anymore. I certainly don't trust you. I actually can't believe I'm talking to you right now because
I know.
I don't know what to do.
I was expecting you to just kill me.
I maybe yesterday I would have, but I feel like I've been I've been trying to get better. I told myself that I would get better at I don't know, not being the way that I am, but I feel like I'm not really making any progress, and I don't I don't want to kill anyone right now. At least
I mean,
not without at least asking them what they're doing or seeing.
that's fair. Like I said, I was just gonna sort of, I was gonna make camp here for the night and try and get some rest before I spend another couple of days trying to find this. He was pretty clear about that the festival probably shouldn't be interrupted.
What are you here to do again?
Listen, okay,
what
I'm gonna make this very clear. You and I are after the same thing. We both want to stop whatever the exile is, but the difference is that I don't have the luxury of being able to just sit there and let people go if I can sense the exile on them. This armor that I've got with me, that is the only reason I can even kill these things, it pulls at me. It tells me when someone's been corrupted or when someone is affiliated with the exile, and I'm not exactly the kind of person that can just talk to people.
did Talroth have something
Everyone
to do with the
in that
exile?
town did. You don't get it. I walked into that town and it was like a bomb going off. There wasn't a single everyone in there was doubled over and sick or dying, and I could see traces of the exile of every single one of them, and I didn't know which of them could have been a cultist or not, so I didn't have a choice.
And there was no way of saving any of them, is what you're telling me?
Listen, I had two options. I could either kill all of them and cleanse that town, or I could leave them alive and live with the risk that that might have been a town full of people supporting the exile.
And you chose to kill innocent people.
I didn't know they were innocent.
It sounds to me like you had at least an idea that some of them might have been innocent and some not.
Listen, the last time I stopped because I thought someone was innocent was the time I almost died.
I've almost died too. You aren't special.
Yeah, but you weren't stabbed in the back. And she kind of kicks a rock towards, just off into the forests. Look, what? I, Marlo, was it?
Yes.
You're just wandering these woods at night?
Yes.
I mean, I can't. There's nothing really that I can fault you on. She sort of goes back to what she was doing and she starts lighting up a fire. And soon there's a small
Annabeth, where did you come from?
I
Where did you
came
grow up?
from a long way away. I came from I'm. As she lights the fire, you can see her face is incredibly pale. And Marlo, have you ever seen a Dragas? Would Marlo have ever seen one?
Well, I saw one at the I saw Tell, didn't I?
Yeah, I was like, but do you know what Dragas are?
No, not really.
Well, she's a Dragas, but to you, she probably just looks incredibly pale, and
Mm-hmm.
she sort of sits back on the log. I came from Dragas City, deep in the underground, like most of them are, and yeah, it was a long time ago, but I made a deal with someone, and I had to leave there, and I had to leave behind people I cared about.
How long have you been off by yourself in the woods?
In these woods, a couple of
Yes.
days, a week maybe.
Mm.
I ended up fighting some manticore that wouldn't leave me alone.
I remember that manticore.
Oh, is it okay?
You heard it? No, it was wounded pretty bad, and I killed it.
I It shouldn't have been. I tried to just throw it away and try not to hurt it. I
No,
don't
you hurt it
like
pretty bad.
I don't like killing things, but when the alternative is that everything dies or they bring more of those monstrosities into the world, I I gotta. What like
Have you ever?
do you know how that feels? Have you ever been faced with that scenario where you've got the only choice you have is whether is killing people that you don't know or possibly leaving other people to die?
I'm going to be completely honest with you. The worst things that I've ever done are not because I had a choice, but because I wasn't thinking. I'm not the most uh, thoughtful person, and
You seem pretty thoughtful
that's
to me.
I've had a long day. I'm just tired out. I'm too tired to make bad decisions right now. Well,
Well, maybe you should be tired more often then.
maybe so.
You sure you don't want to sit down?
Okay, I sit down.
You sort of, you sort of. Why do you? Okay. Why don't you try and
What?
put moving the mic away? Because when you have that sigh, it like blew out the audio. But, like, try moving your
Oh,
mic away, but turning up the sensitivity. Because you're a little quiet, but at the same time, I can hear your breathing, and it's this weird contrast.
oh. Okay, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Hold on one sec. This is gonna be in settings. User settings. Turn up the sensitivity.
Yeah. But like move it away a little bit so that you can not hear.
Okay, it's moved away and it's also turned up. How is that?
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Okay, cool, nice,
Yeah, and I can't hear you breathing now.
ideal.
Just cock's gun. I don't want to hear you breathing.
God. Okay, yeah, but so Marlo sits
Yeah,
down.
so she sits down, and you're on. I'm imagining you're probably on opposite sides of the fire because there's two logs. Sort of, this is a clear camping site.
Yeah, I'm sitting on the opposite log.
She kind of tosses another piece of wood onto this campfire in the middle, and then rummages about in a pack that she's got, and starts eating kind of just some natural stuff. Like she's got some berries in there, and she kind of sighs. Have you ever had to do something that you regretted so much because you knew that it was the only way you could make things better?
Um, well, I don't, I'll be completely honest with you. Uh, I don't really know.
What do you mean?
I was, well, when I made a big mistake once and I was exiled from the,
Oh, that that sounds terrible.
where I grew up, but, and at the time I thought that I deserved even less than that. but I don't really know what I'm saying, but it's
It's fine. I'm kind of just happy to have someone to talk to. Most of the time, most people don't ever see me in that. Most people, when they see me in that thing, they'll either run for their lives, and most of the time, there isn't anyone around when I take that thing off because I'm too afraid that someone will just kill me. It's been a while since I had someone to actually talk to.
that's a hard way to live, Annabeth.
It is, but I can't risk and I can't risk people seeing who I am and it getting back to him somehow.
To him,
It's
who's him?
I'd rather not say. It's kind of personal, but I just if he found out that I was alive, and I feel
Mm.
like it would just destroy him, and I don't want to put him through that.
If he found out that you were alive, it would destroy him.
He thought I was dead for years and years, and I don't think he'd be able to handle if he found out that I was alive all this time and just had run away.
I mean, I don't know if it were me. And is this a family member?
It is, but I don't want to. That's about as specific as I'm happy to get. If that's
No,
okay.
no, no. I'm fine. I'm fine. But I've lost people, and I'd give anything just to hear that they had just been hiding away or something instead of
That's
just really, really dead.
that's true, but I can't. This is on a bit of a bigger scale. But
Mm.
anyway, you want anything to eat? I've got some stuff in my pack. If you're hungry.
Uh, you know what? Sure.
She kind of hands you a piece of bread, which you've got a piece of buttered bread and like some fish.
Nice.
And she pulls out something similar from her pack, and she's just kind of the two of you kind of eat for a while in some pretty companionable silence. And eventually, when she finishes, she speaks up again. So, this might be weird to ask. Have you heard anything about any kind of weird activity going on?
Well, since I've started traveling with the people I've been with, I feel like my life has been nothing but a whole long string of weird activity.
Who are you
Um,
traveling with? I saw that you were. I saw that. It's kind of hard to see in the helmet sometimes. I saw you because you were so big, but I kind of didn't really see who the rest of your party were, or rest of your group. Your friends?
um,
Are they your friends?
uh, I don't know. I don't know if they trust me.
I mean,
I,
isn't that important?
well, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like that might be a wise thing. Exactly. Proving myself to be most trustworthy of people. Not
I
that I would
mean,
ever.
I would have thought that if you guys didn't trust each other, then you would never have even got this far together.
I mean, they trust me to do simple things. And I guess I'm okay when it comes to having them back in a fight, but at the same, I'm not really reliable. So,
You're
um,
cutting. Try and turn that sensitivity up a bit
oh,
because you're cutting out.
sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh,
I mean, I used to have a party of my own, and I trusted them with my life. I would have fallen backwards off a cliff if I knew that they would catch me when I fell. But they're not around. And I part of the deal I made was to make sure that I could find them again. So I feel like you should probably try and trust your friends more. I mean, tell me a bit about them. Uh, Marlo,
Yeah.
are you saying something? I
Out
li-
again.
I literally couldn't hear a word you just said.
This is
You're,
my.
you are like super cutting out.
Uh,
I still can't hear you at all. Is your mic?
shit.
Is the mic breaking? Is it the sensitivity maybe?
Maybe. Hold up.
I,
Can you hear me now?
kind of. You just cut out at the end.
Is it like a?
It's you're cutting out like randomly. Can't hear you anymore. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording real quick.
Okay.
So,
Done deal.
yeah, tell me a bit about them.
Well, one of them is a cleric, and one of them is a magic user. I guess a wizard or something. And one of them, well, she plays an instrument, and she also like
I don't mean what they do. Tell me about them, who they are.
I think that the cleric used to be a soldier, and the wizard she doesn't like to say much about herself, but I feel like she's got a lot on her mind all the time, and she doesn't really like any of us, and she's just trying to. She's got her own kind of thing that she's working towards, and I don't really think the bard knew what she was getting herself into.
They sound pretty like a pretty interesting bunch.
Yeah. Um, and I think that I trust uh, I trust the cleric pretty well, and maybe also the bard too. But I don't know if the wizard and I are ever going to be on like. I don't know if we're ever really going to be friends.
Why is that?
She, well, I feel like she sees me better than the others. She sees that I I can't really be counted on in tight situations, and I mean, sure I can swing an axe, but I'm not the person that you want to have being responsible for your life when it really comes down to it.
I don't
I
know. You seem like you'd be a pretty reliable person. You seem like you're
mm,
really hard on yourself, Marlo.
I that's warranted.
Why? I mean, if it's something that happened to you in the past, wouldn't it be a good idea to try and move forwards? Like,
I'm
surely
trying.
what you're doing seems to be in the right along the right track. So
It's like if I don't keep an eye on myself all the time, I it's like I don't even think. And
have you ever
yeah,
have you ever done anything that's gone wrong because of that? Apart from what you said.
from what I said,
Well, you
well,
said that you did something that got you exiled, but apart from that, it sounds like everyone's really just happy to have you around.
now see in if we're in like a fighting situation, it seems like it just takes 1 second of me just I don't know going out there swinging an axe, and then everything goes to shit,
I mean,
And
I feel like you're too hard on yourself. You're you look strong, you look tough, you seem and it seems like you do care about the people around you. So why do you think you're not good enough?
I don't know.
What does being strong mean to you, Marlo?
Um, Being able to protect people and being able to do it well. And uh, I don't know. I feel like
Well,
part
maybe
of the
you
way
should
I'm there, but
take some time and try and figure out what you want to do and who you want to be before you try and put yourself down. Because I think you're really strong, Marlo, in the sense that you seem like you're always trying to protect people. And when I
mm,
back at the town, as sad as that was, I saw that you, like when I came out of those flames, you stepped forward. You had your weapon out. You, even if you didn't realize it, you were there. You wanted to protect your friends.
yep.
I
Hmm.
think you need to stop being so hard on yourself. I think you're a lot stronger than you think you are.
What about you?
Me?
Yeah, what about you? What do you think that you're going to do from here? You seem to be in a pretty rough place right now.
I'm gonna keep going around and I'm gonna keep trying to stop this exile stuff wherever it comes. And I hope at the end of the day I can figure out what I do that stops it and I can finish my end of the deal.
And then you'll be at peace with yourself? Do you think that that's
Well,
really going to
I
help
don't think
everything?
anybody's ever completely at peace with themselves. Everybody's always got things that are going to nag at them and annoy them, and nobody's ever going to end up and leave while feeling 100% contented. But I think so long as I can make an impact on this world and help protect the people inside of it, then at least in the end, I can be happy about that.
I guess that's a noble goal.
What about you, Marlo? When
What's that sound in the background?
I don't know, I think one of my fans was going weird for a second there. What about
Oh,
you,
sorry.
Marlo? When everything's said and done, what do you want to be proud of?
I just want to know that I guess I made up for, well, what would be really the best thing is if I was able to go back to my family and my tribe, but I don't know if that's ever going to happen. So I guess the best thing that I could hope for is having people around me who I can fully have their trust and be worthy of it.
Well, then maybe you should start by trusting the people who are around you now.
You're right,
She kind of
I guess.
smiles and she stands up and kind of walks back over to the armor and she checks it out for a second to make seeing if everything's in sort of order or at least as much order as it can be. And then she sort of starts getting she gets a kind of a blanket and a pillow out of the bag
Hmm.
and she looks over at you and she smiles. She says, if you need to know that someone trusts you, Marlo, well, consider this the start. And she sets them out on the log, on the sort of the floor next to the log beside the fire, and she lays down and leaves the armor standing up. And before long, you can hear it's clear she was exhausted because it's not long until you can see that she's fast asleep beside you.
Okay.
Marlo, what do you
Um,
do?
I guess I'm going to go back to the inn.
All right. As you leave the forest, you feel a chill go through the air, and you see a figure. He's leaning against a tree, just so, as like a lone tree, not part of the forest, and he's sort of flipping it. He's kind of just standing there. And it's clear he's looking at you. And he starts walking over to you, and you notice that things appear to have stopped. And not stopped in the way that people aren't doing what they should be doing, as in things seem to be frozen. Leaves are suspended in midair, and just
There's no animal sounds.
and the wind has stopped. And he sort of walks up to you slowly with a smile on his face. You must be Marlo, right?
How did you know my name?
I know a lot of names, and I know a lot of people. But you're the strongest one of the group. The big old fighter type, the one who keeps everyone else safe.
I try to be.
Well, Marlo, I've got a little bit of a proposition for you. If you're willing to hear me out.
I'm listening.
It's pretty simple, actually. And from behind his back, he produces a great axe, the same kind that you've got, but this one is it's amazing looking. The handle is made of this beautifully cut wood. The blades gleam a polished steel with a silver trim around the edges, and there's carvings along the blade. And he runs his hand over the base, where you can see there is a skull with a ruby in it. And he turns it over, and he points the handle out to you. And he says, I want to give you this. And you can consider this just a gift from me to you. And the only thing I ask for in return is that you don't tell your friends that I gave you this. You don't tell anyone who asks that I gave you this. And you just keep on using it to kill those cultists and everything inside them.
Why would you do this?
Consider me an old friend. I want to help you.
If you're an old friend, why don't I know your name?
Well, most people call me Honey Eyes. And you can see that, true to his word, he has a pair of glittering golden eyes. And it's just like the pupils, not his entire eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And he smiles. And you've probably known me longer than you think. But trust me when I say that I don't mean you any harm.
Why?
Why?
Why should I trust you? And why don't you want me to tell my friends?
Because if you tell your friends, then I'm worried that they'll start figuring stuff out, and they'll try and find. Because I've been with all of y'all for a long time. And you'll never notice me. I'm usually around the backs, but I've always tried to help you four out because I care about you. I always have. I've always thought that you four were interesting, but I know you four, and I know that you don't take kindly to someone else snooping in your business or knowing about your past and the things that go on with it. So I wanted to keep myself a secret from you friends and just kind of give you a helping hand from the shadows like I always have. And Marlo,
Yes.
remember on that day when you accidentally led those mammoth-sized boars into that massive boar into your village. You remember
campsite. Yeah.
Did you
Go on.
Did you lead it into the center of your
Campsite.
No, I thought
Yes.
you led it into the. Well, yeah.
They're nomadic.
Oh, yeah. I think you mentioned. If you did,
Go
my
on.
mistake. But you remembered the hunting party coming back faster than you had seen them come back before, And it's only now that you remember. You remember a shepherd at the front of the hunting party, pointing towards the boar, and you see him look over at you and smile. And you remember a pair of brilliant golden eyes.
I I guess I still don't understand.
You
There's a
don't
lot I don't understand.
you don't have to. Just I'm here. I want to help you guys.
I'll take the axe. I take the axe.
All right. You feel it kind of glows slightly in your hand, a soft golden glow. And when you look back up, everything's moving again, and he's gone. And I'll tell you what the stats are for your new axe in after this session. But speaking of which, I'm assuming you're just heading back to the inn then.
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Right now it's about 1 a.m. And you sort of push into this inn, and the innkeeper smiles at you and he nods, and you head upstairs, and I'm assuming you just head to sleep.
Yep.
All right, and I think we can end that there.